Hari Om, Swagatam, welcome to Ola session 31. Today we will be talking upon Nirukta, one of the Vedangas, and so I chose a Vedic verse. Of course, as I had said earlier, I can't chant in the swaras, so I will recite it as a shloka for you. This is from the first mandala. This is a Vishnu hymn written by Dirghatama Uchatya, and Ruch is employed, Niyukta, Vaishnavi Yamruk Niyukta, Yupavabandhane, when Yupa is being established in the Soma Shastra. So that is the Viniyoga of this Ruch. So the Ruch is like this. Tavam vastu nyushmasi gamadhyai. Tavam vastu nyushmasi gamadhyai. Yatra gavo bhuri shrunga ayasaha. Yatra gavo bhuri shrunga ayasaha. Athatra tad urugayasya vrishna paramam padam avabhati bhuri. Let me explain the meaning and then I will see why I chose this particular verse for talking on Nirukta. The verse says that this is addressed to the Dampati. Vam is a Dvivachana. It is addressed to the Dampati, Yajamana and Yajamana Patni. And the priests, they are talking about themselves in plural. Ushmasi kamayamahe, Vashakantav. So kamayamahe. So we desire for you ta vastuni, tani vastuni, such abodes where yatra gavaha bhurishrungaha ayasaha, where the cows are with long horns and ayasaha untiring. Durgacharya, while commenting upon this word, he says, muhurtamapi anavasthiyamanaha. For a moment also they won't stand or sit idle without working, so tirelessly. So yatra gavo bhuri shrunga ayasaha, and that is told to be urugayasya vrishnaha paramam padam. That is said to be the highest abode of Urugaya, one who is a wide strider or one who is widely praised. Uru Gayaha Gangatau, one who strides widely, and Gai Gayati, one who is sung or praised, Bhuri, widely. And that is the Paramam Padam Avabhati Bhuri. It shines forth for all the mortal beings. Now here, the word Gavaha, cows, and there is a Visheshana, there is an adjective, Bhuri Shrungaha, okay, the long piercing horns. So it becomes the meaning are cows. So this refers to Goloka. In later mythology, later philosophy rather, especially the Vaishnava philosophy, Sri Vallabhacharya has construed this verse, the meaning of this verse to mean the Goloka, where there are plenty of cows and Krishna is, playing with them and milking the cows and playing on his flute and all that. So that is the picture he creates. Now why I chose this? Because Gavaha could also mean the rays of the sun. Rashmayopi gavo uchyante. So that is in Nirukta. Nirukta starts with Gauhu as the first word. When it deliberates on the words Gavadi Devapatnyantam. So that is the span. It starts with the word Gauhu, Gauhu, Jma, Kshma, etc. Ekavimshati Prithivi Namadehayani, and it ends with Devapatni. So therefore I am reciting this verse. Gavaha also means the rays of the sun, and then here the Urugaya doesn't mean Vishnu who took 3 strides and was called Trivikrama, but he is the sun who traverses the vault of the sky from the east to the west in 3 phases: the rise, the height, the peak, and the setting sun. So this is Urugaya, and this is the description of the rays of the sun, and this refers to Aditya Mandala. So now this reference we get from Nirukta because the one word could have different meanings. How and what is the principle? So let us see what Nirukta has in store for us. Okay? So Nirukta, we have already started the Vedangas, and Shiksha we did first, right? So Shiksha, Vyakarana, Chanda, Nirukta, Jyotisha and Kalpa, these are the 6 Vedangas. Vedangas, Vedarthaha, Angyate, Gamyate, Anena, iti Vedangam. The tool, the device through which, by which the meaning of the Veda becomes intelligible, accessible. We can know the meaning. And therefore these 6 Vedanga are used more in application to understand the meaning of the Vedas. Okay? Now here also the 4 deal directly with the mantras. Shiksha deals with words and mantras. Vyakarana deals with mantras, the words. Nirukta deals with the words and the mantras, and Chandas, because it's a prosody, Vritta. Only Kalpa and Jyotisha, they deal with something else, and that is especially mathematics, the scientific aspect and all that. So in the 6 Vedangas also we could have this division. 4 of them, the Vedangas, 4 of these, they deal with Vedic mantras or the word directly. Now with this introduction, let us go to Nighantu and Nirukta. Nighantu, Nirukta, Ani, Brahma Sutra, Avatara, Sahasra, Upagrantha. My mother used to sing something like this in Marathi. So Nighantu, Nirukta, Ani, Brahma Sutra. So this comes all in a line. So Niruktam Shrotra Muchyate. In the earlier side perhaps, we saw that Shiksha is Granam. See, Veda Purusha is conceived as a Purusha. Shiksha, this Vedanga, is supposedly the nose of Veda Purusha. Nirukta is the ear. Vyakaranam, Mukham Vyakaranam Smritam, Hastau Kalpotha Pathyate, Chandaha Padau tu Vedasya, and Jyotisham Ayanam Chakshuhu. So these are the different limbs or organs of this Veda Purusha. So Niruktam Shrotra Muchyate. Now what is this Nirukta? Nirukta is not an independent or separate text or treatise per se. It is a commentary written by Yaskacharya. The time of Yaskacharya, if you know Panini, 200 or 300 years before Panini. So Panini, if you place in 5th century before the Common Era, Yaska you can place 200 years before Panini, 7th or 8th BCE, that is the rough time. And what is Nighantu? Nighantu is a glossary of the rare, the difficult and very important words occurring in the Vedic corpus. Okay? So, glossary of words, and this is traditionally attributed to Vrishakapi, but we don't know because there are so many Nighantus. For example, for Ayurveda people, there is a Kayyadeva Nighantu. And for general like Medini, Vishwa and Amara, we have Raja Nirghanta or Raja Nighantu. So there are so many Nighantus like that. Now this Nighantu, on which Yaskacharya has written a commentary, it has 3 sections. There are 5 chapters, and the 5 chapters are divided into 3 sections. The first 3 deal with Nighantuka Kanda, that is the synonyms. Like I said, Gauhu, Kshma, Ajma, etc. Similarly, Jala, there are 101 names for water. So like that, there will be synonyms there. The 4th chapter out of 5 is Aikapadika or Naigamakanda. This deals with the homonyms. So same word, not synonym, but multiple meanings of the same word. So that is Aikapadika or Naigamakanda. And then the 5th chapter is Daivatakanda, where we have right from Agni to Devapatni. So 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, these 5 chapters of Nirukta, they deal with that. And I think there are some numbers I have mentioned here. The Naigantuka Kanda numbers, you can just gather all together, sum up, the words, and that becomes the Naigantuka Kanda words. In Naigamakanda, 279 words are dealt with as homonyms. And in the Daivatakanda, 151 Devatas are dealt with. When we say Devatas in the Vedas, even Ulu Khala Musala, the mortar and the pestle, becomes a Devata. Aksha, the dice, that also becomes a Devata. So Yam Uddishya Suktam Drishtam Sosya Devata. So Devata doesn't mean like, Ganapati or Dattatreya or Bhavani, like that God, but it's subject matter of that sukta, that is called Devata. Now Nighantu is the beginning of a lexical literature as such, and how many years back, 7th century or 8th century before the Common Era, it's a starting of Koshavangmaya or lexicography, lexicons as such. It's not a dictionary because it doesn't give the meanings, it gives the synonyms. So it is different from dictionary, but it comes under the lexical literature as such. Now that was Nighantu. Nirukta is a commentary we have seen. So what is meant by Nirukta? What are the definitions? So Nirukta is a science of etymology. Nisheshena uktam padajatam atra iti Niruktam. Ni is the upasarga, Nishesha. Uktam, spoken. And therefore Nisheshena padajatam uktam athava nirapekshataya uktam arthavabodhe, for understanding the meaning. For understanding the meaning of the Vedic mantras, nirapekshataya, without having any prejudices, without having any biases, apeksham hitva, padajatam yatra uktam tan niruktam, says Sayanacharya in his Bhashya. And for example, Ekavimshati Prithvi Namadeyani, I said, Ekaikasya padasya sambhavitaha avayavarthaha yatra nisheshena uchyante. Now, padajatam uktam tad niruktam, and in one pada, the different segments, the syllabic portions of that word, they are also nisheshena uktam. So that also becomes now Nirukta. Okay. And now, according to this also, the commentary of Yaska is Nirukta. I will take you to one example, Hiranyam, for example. Hiranya is gold. Now Hiranyam Kasmat. Hiranyam Kasmat. Why Hiranya is called Hiranya? Okay. So there comes some interesting explanation of that. Riyate ayamyamanam riyate va janajjanam hitaramanam bhavati iti va hridayaramanam bhavati iti va haryaterva syat prepsa karmanaha ityadi ityadi. So many etymologies from Ru to take. So that which is taken or that which is transferred from person to person, janajjanam riyate, or riyate ayamyamanam, which can be stretched out, and then you can take it from one person to the second person. For example, we go to the goldsmith, we give some gold, some maybe the ear ornament, and we want him to make a bangle out of that. Ayamyamanam. Another thing here, I just want to point at that aspect of, like the quality of a metal, malleability and ductility are the qualities of metal. So, particularly gold, so many, because pure gold, you can twist it by your hand also. You don't need a goldsmith for that, right? So, that is Hita Ramanam. It is Hita and Ramana. You take pleasure in having gold with you, right? And Hridaya Ramanam, it pleases your heart. And Prepsa Karmanaha, that which you long to have it, obtain it. So, all these are the different. Here, ha, ra, na, the syllabic portions. Avayavarthaha, different syllabic portions are also taken into consideration. So that is the definition. Now, what is the structure of Nirukta? We saw what is Nighantu. What are the Nighantu's 5 chapters? What is the definition of Nirukta? What is the outer structure of Nirukta? It has 12 chapters and plus 2 which can be treated as appendices. Okay, 14 chapters total. The first chapter deals with the meaning of Nighantu, the 4 parts of speech, Tatra Chatvari Padajatani Namakhyate Chopasarga Nipatascha, like that. It will start with the parts of speech. Okay, the nouns, then the verbs, the upasarga, the prefixes, and the nipata, the indeclinables. These are the 4 parts of speech he speaks of. First 3 chapters of this Nirukta they deal with the synonyms and their etymologies. First 3 chapters, synonyms and their etymologies. For example, Gauhu I said. Then Gauhu, what are the different meanings of that and how you can derive the word Gauhu. Then the 4 to 6, these 3 chapters, they deal with the second kanda, that is Naigama kanda. So they deal with the 279 homonyms. Okay? And from 7 to 12, this is Daivata kanda in Nirukta. Okay? And in that Daivata kanda, the deities, the names, their etymologies, and there also there is some order. Nothing is, disorganized manner, nothing comes here. So there is an order. We start with the terrestrial, then go to the atmospheric deities, and then to the celestial deities. So Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Swaha. So we start with Agni. Then midway, we'll come across Indra, Vayu, etc., Pamnapad. And then we come across Dyava, Prithvi, and Surya, the celestial, the heavenly. Tisro vai devataha, Prithvi sthaniyaha, Antariksha sthaniyaha, Dyusthaniyascha. That is what is the premise of Yaskacharya. So it starts with Agni and ends with Devapatni. Now, what are the types of derivations? Nirukta is a science of etymology or derivation. You derive a word. From what? Normally from a verb. If it is a tadhita or kridanta, you derive it from a noun, and the noun itself you derive from a verb. Tatra namani akhyātajāni iti Shakatayanaha. So that is the famous, again, a premise of one of the earlier grammarian earlier to Panini and a predecessor of Yaskacharya as well. So the types of derivations, there are 3. Pratyaksha vritti, Paroksha vritti, and Ati Paroksha vritti. Pratyaksha vritti is that, where in the word itself, the verb can be seen, it's visible there. For example, the word Gati, the word Pachaka, Pacha. Pacha is the root, and you add a suffix nul, then Yuvoranako, it becomes Aka, and then Pachaka, the form we get. So in the word Pachaka, the word Pacha, the root Pacha, is directly seen by us, so we don't have to struggle to derive it from Pacha. Gati from Gama, Mati from Mana, okay, Nati from Nama. So such are the kridantas, etc., which are directly derived. They are pratyaksha vritti. Some are paroksha, not so direct. It's an indirect connection between the word and the verb. It's an indirect connection. For example, the word Sindhu. Sindhu is a river. Sindhu means a water reservoir, basically. It could mean a river, it could mean an ocean. Okay? Sindhu is a water reservoir. Now it comes from the word Syanda. Now where is the root Syanda in Sindhu? It's not there. It is Paroksha. And then Unadi Pratyaya U, it becomes Sindhu. So it's indirectly connected. And sometimes we have Ati Paroksha Vrittayaha. There is no whatsoever connection, and still we derive a particular word from a verb. That is far-fetched derivations, but they are admissible according to Yaskacharya. So for example, the very word Nighantu, if you derive it, Nighantu, Nighantavaha kasmat, Nigamanat ete, Nigantavaha eva Nighantava uchyante. So Nigantavaha, then Gakara becomes Gakara, Takara becomes Takara, and Nigantu becomes Nighantu. Okay, that is Varna Vyapatti. That will come across now in few slides. But then there is another derivation, Samahananadva, Ahananadva, Vedebhyaha Samaritya Samamnataha, and therefore Ahananadva ete syuhu. Now Ahanana is what? That is, giving something in an order. For example, Sutre idamahitam, Brahmane idamahitam. So that has been placed in an order. So Patharthe, Hantehe Patharthe Prayogaha, says Durgacharya, and therefore we can derive that word Nighantu from Samahantu. Sam adik adik hana. Where is ni plus hana? Or ni plus gama? There is no connection whatsoever. But Arthanityam pariksheta. We'll come across that principle of Nirukta. On the basis of that, if the word means something which is a collection of the words from the Vedas which are gathered together in a orderly form, in a list, they are enlisted in a proper manner. So there are this principle, in this particular derivation, there are so many principles of Nirukta used. Upasarga Vyatyaya, some is not there in Nighantu. Instead of ni, some is used. Okay, A is Upasarga Adhyahara, another new one. And then Varna Viparyaya, so many things are there. But then it can be derived, that is Ati Paroksha Vritti. Normally Ati Paroksha Vritti is not encouraged, but there is a provision. There is a provision, okay. So Samamnayaha Samamnataha Savyakhyatavyaha. This is how the Nirukta starts. The first sentence of Nirukta Grantha is Samamnayaha. This list of the words in order, they have been listed and they have been handed over from generation to generation in a succession. So that list is to be explained now. And this is how the text starts. Now what are the principles? What we should keep in mind before deriving any word from a verb? Tatra namani akhyata. So what is the source? The source has to be some verb. Okay. Now in Pachaka, the root pacha is visible. So you don't have to struggle. Where it is not visible, you have to break the word in syllabic portion. Avayavarthaha. And then in each syllable, can you find a remnant of a verb? That is how you have to explore and then explain, analyze the word like that. So tad yeshu padeshu swara samskarau samartho, where the vyakarana pratyaya, swara samskara, etc. very visible, like pacha, you attach nuvul pratyaya, prakriti pratyatmika bhasha sanskritam. This is a language which is, very like prakriti and pratyaya. So that gives its preciseness or brevity and a very condensed form. So where that is obvious, you don't have to bother at all, okay? Tatra tatha tani nirbruyat gati mati karta pachakaha pakvam. Now pakvam is again very interesting, but we have a sutra. It can be like pachehe vaha, right, Nagendraji? Pachehe vaha is the sutra. Otherwise, taktavatu nishtha, it could be ta or tavat. But then here, it is va as a separate pratyaya. So, this is swara samskara is very clearly seen. The tadditas, the kridantas, we can clearly analyze from certain verbs. But in doing any derivation, the first principle, first principle is yeshu swara samskara samarthau. But if the swara samskara is not seen, then what next? Arthanityaha pariksheta kenachid vritti samanyena. Arthanityaha pariksheta. Always give importance to the meaning of the word. If it tallies with the meaning of the verb, then you can connect the two. If they don't, then don't do that. The famous example I always used to give in my class, Vadhuhu. Vadhuhu is a bride. In Vadhu, apparently, phonetic similarity is with the verb Vadh. Vadh is to kill, to strike. Can we derive the word Vadhu from Vadh? No. In bridal deaths you can, in a way, but not as a general rule, right? So we can't derive, though it is seen. But Arthanitya, that doesn't match. So even if there is swara samskara, you should not be misled by that. You always try to tally the meaning of the word and the meaning of the source, the verb. So we can't derive it from Vadh. Then we derive it from Vaha. Vaha, to carry. She is being carried from one place to other place. From her father's house to her husband's house. Uihate grihat griham iti vadhuhu. Artha is tally. So derive it. Now what happened to that dha and ha? don't bother. Samskaram na adriyeta. See? It will come here. Natveva na nirbruyat, samskaram na adriyeta. Don't worry about the swara samskara, what is the prakriti, what is the pratyaya, and what if there is a guna, vruddhi, samprasarana, what is the grammatical adesha and agama and all. Don't bother about that. That's why I like Nirukta more. Because you are not bugged by the rules and regulations. It goes beyond Vyakarana in a way. That's why it is called, Nagendra Pavana won't agree with me, but still. Vyakaranasya kartsnyam. Tadidam vidyasthanam Vyakaranasya kartsnyam. It gives totality to Vyakarana. Where Vyakarana falls short, Nirukta will add to that. And that addition, not like haphazard manner, Arthanityaha pariksheta. That's the foremost principle. You can't ever deviate from that. Adrihi, again another example. In Adri, Adri means a mountain. Adri means Vajra of Indra, that is also called Adri. Other, to eat, is the very apparently seen verb in that. But you can't derive mountain from the verb to eat. So, drinati, to tear apart, to smash. Vajra smashes everything. And this Parvata, the mountain, it could be torn, like broken into pieces. The stones could be taken out, the mining could be done. In old days also, right? So, Adrihi from Dhru, Dranati, Dhru Dharayati, from that and not from other. So, Arthanityaha pariksheta. If there is no functional attribute or any similarity, then look for some syllabic, phonemic similarity, akshara varana samanyat nirbruyat. But don't say that, no, I can't find any verb in this. Let me stop etymologizing this word. Ye mere bas ki baat nahi hai. Don't do that. Akshara samanyena va nirbruyat, natveva na nirbruyat. Don't ever entertain the feeling that let me not derive this word because I don't find any similarity with any verb, even in the syllabic portion. And while doing so, Yaska says, samskaram na adriyeta. Don't care for the grammatical rules and regulations. If the meaning tallies, just go ahead. That's a license given to all the people like me who can derive anything from any. I was telling Srinath today how Rahul, the word could be derived. Okay. So, Agnihi, for example, how from syllabic portions? Phonemic similarity, the phonetic similarity. Agnihi, aga, agigatau, you can have. Anchu pujayam, you can derive. Okay. But then ga, and ni, 3 syllabic portions, you can split it into 3 syllabic portions. There are very, very interesting examples. I'll give you some 2 or 3 to make the lecture more interesting and not very theoretical. So, agranihi bhavati, agram yajneshu praniyate, angam nayati, aga, and ni from ni prapane, angam nayati, that is guni karoti. Agni is the important thing, all other things are subordinate, subsidiary. So, guni karoti iti agnihi. And that is true, we offer all the havis in Agni. Indraya swaha idam namama, but where do we offer? In Agni. Prajapataye swaha idam namama. In Agni only. So Agni subordinates all other things. He is the prime most important. He is the Havyavahana. That's why. Another very important, now, ye to matlab hum tumhare rishte mein tumhare baap hai, like that, you know. Like this one, Sthaulashtivi, not Sthaulashtivi, Shakapuni is still more. Sthaulashtivi derives Agni, the word, from Knui Undane. Knu is the root which means to moisten, to make wet. Knui Undane. This is the same root in the Samudra, the word Samudra also. Undikledane, the same word. Okay. So, na knopayati. That doesn't moisten, that doesn't make you wet. Pratyuta virukshi karoti, it dries you up. It dries you up. Here I am reminded of one deity in the Rigveda. It is called Apam Napat. Okay, Apam Napat. Now Napat is a Napta, that is a grandchild, grandson. Apam is a Shashti, so it is the grandson or grandchild of the waters. Apam Napat is a deity, okay? It's an atmospheric deity, it's lightning, it's the form of Agni only, terrestrial fire, then Apam Napat or lightning, and then comes the Surya. So these are the three Devatas, okay? Apam Napat, he is the grandson, how? Because the waters enliven or produce the vanaspatis, the trees, and you get the samidha from the trees, and from friction you generate fire. So it is the son of the son, no? Child of the child, so it becomes the grandchild, Apam Napat. But the same word, Napat is one word, you split that. Apam Napat. It is not a protector of the waters. Virukshi karoti, Agni, what does it do? It dries up the waters. It evaporates the water, isn't it? So Apam Napat. That is how by splitting you arrive at the derivation, okay? So do that. Apam Napat, Napat is a one word, Naptru, Napat, and Napat. It is not a protector of waters. On the other hand, it dries up, evaporates the water. Okay? So Apam Napat. Now Shakapuni, Tribhyaha Akhyatebhyaha. He finds three roots in the A, Ga and Na. Three syllables, he finds three different roots. And he says, Itat, Dagdhat, Nitat. Akara comes from Ingatau, Ayayati iti. That Akara comes from Ingatau. It's a Gatyarthaka. It always moves. The flames always go up to the heaven, right? Always there is a movement. Okay? Then Dagdhat. That Gakara comes from Dah, Dagdha. Dagdha. Okay? It burns. Semantically it is good. Arthanityaha pariksheta. Semantically it can be validated. You can't touch the fire, it will burn you. And Nitat, Nakaraha or Nikaraha, from Ni Prapade, because it takes your Havi to the gods. So from three different roots, three syllabic portions. In Agni is a two-lettered word, but there are three phonemes, and three phonemes could be derived from three different roots. That's the height of any etymology, is it not? Similarly, the word Satya, he derives Santamartham Ayayati iti Satyam. Satya. Sat is the Shatrushanach, the present participle of root As. Sat. Ayayati, that which takes you, Gamayati, that which takes you to the existing thing. Because truth is immortal. Truth cannot be tampered with. And therefore truth stands there as it was, it is, and it will be in future. So Santam Artham Ayayati iti Satyam, that is another derivation. I was telling you, I promised you, I'll give you some interesting syllabic portions and the derivations of that. Naraka, very common word we use. Swarga and Naraka. What is the etymology of Naraka? Yaska has split it in three. Na, Ra, Ka. Three syllables, three different. Na is negative. Ra from Rama, Ramanam. Ka, Alpa, Alparthekan. Nasti atra Ramanam sthanam alpamapi. Naraka is that place where there is not even the least, minimal, minuscule portion of enjoyment or happiness. That is Naraka. Interesting? Now there is another word Nakaha or Nakam both. Naka, not this Naka. Naka is Swarga. Naka is Swarga, heaven, not the Marathi Hindi Nak. It is Swarga. It is again split as Na plus A plus Ka. Here Ka is not Alparthekan. Kam Sukham. Kam is Sukha. Ka is equivalent to Prajapati, Brahma. He is the creator. He represents the Kama, the desire. Right? So Ka is Sukha. Ka is no Sukha. That means Dukkha. Then comes na, the prefix, where there is no dukkha. So dukkha bhavaha. So a is a negation, na is a negation, two negatives making one strong affirmative. Strong affirmative. That's the rule. That's what I learned in my English. Right? So two negatives making one strong affirmative. Na kaha, na kam, na a ka. So both na and a are negative particles. Okay? Now panchavidham niruktam we always say. Varnagamo varna viparyayascha dvau chaparau varna vikaranasho dhatostadarthati shayena yogaha taduchyate panchavidham niruktam. Fivefold nirukta. So varnagamo, varnanasha, varna viparyaya, etc. There are 5 principles. So what is varnagama? It is called anaptixis. Agama, anything which is borrowed, which is not there, but you can borrow a letter, borrow a phoneme and derive a word. Or the word is such a way it has been formed by borrowing another word from a verb. The verb may not have that phoneme, but you borrow it in the word while forming a word. Okay? For example, hamsaha. Bhaved varna gamod hamso. Hausa, what is the etymology of Hausa? It is from root hasa. Can you imagine? Hasa is to smile, to laugh. Hasa. Why Hausa is smiling? Hausa is connected with smile. You come to Sahitya Shastra. Smile is always depicted as white in color. It's an abstract thing. All good things are white, all bad things are black. Right? So, smile is always white. Even the kirti, yasha, fame, is always depicted as white. And in Bhoja Raja's kingdom, somebody said, "Oh Raja, oh king, while you are ruling, all are getting grey hair because your fame has spread everywhere." That's a hyperbolic expression, right? But that is how. So, all these good things are white, bright, and all bad things are black. That's a common, it's in our human psyche, right? So, that is hasa. It's as white. We say duck white, it should be snow white, angel, right? So, that anuswara comes as an agama and it becomes hamsa. So, to root hasa, you add the agama of anuswara, it becomes hamsa. One other good example I always give is dwara, the door. When you see from the people, some sales girl or saleswoman, salesperson is there, shut the door on the face of the person. So that which varayati, that which prohibits the person from entering in. Varayati iti dvaram, the is agama. Varayati iti dvaram. So that is another derivation. The famous examples in our day-to-day languages, especially the North India part, they won't say, especially the conjunct consonant starting with sa. They will have to prefix e to that, is station, is school. And therefore, I used to make a mockery of my North Indian students. Istri ka matlab kya hai? Is it this istri or istri? Istri could be like the press iron, and istri, the woman. So, such things do happen, right? So, that is Varanagama. Then Varana Viparyaya, it is metathesis. It's a transportation of syllables, transportations of Varanas. Varana Viparyaya, transportation. Change, exchange. For example, the word Simha has been derived from the root Himsa. The verb Himsa. Himsa is to kill. He is a wild animal. He will kill every prey. Himsa. Himsanat Simhaha. So Himsa becomes Simha. Her and Sa, they interchange their positions. This also I say in Punjabi, say ki matbal hai. It is matlab. It becomes matbal. Varanasi ka Banaras kaise hota hai? Varana and Nasi, two rivers, and the portion, the region between these two rivers is Varanasi. it becomes Banaras. Varanasi, Banaras. That na comes here and ra goes there. Varanasi ka Banaras ho gaya. Banarsidas Motilal. So this becomes by metathesis. Deva becomes Veda. Tatra ka paridevana parivedana. Tatra ka paridevana. But unknowingly people will say Devana. This word I don't know. This should be Vedana only. So Deva becoming Veda, Devana becoming Vedana. These are like common metathesis example. Another example is Shunam Kinasha in Atharva Veda. Kinasha. Now Kinasha, not Kinasha, Kinasha. It is Kisan in Hindi. A Krishaka, a farmer. Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, right? That Kisan word is not a Hindi word. It's a Sanskrit word. Kinasha, Kisana. Sh changed the position and Na went to the last position, right? Kinasha becomes Kisana. Similarly, the sage Kashyapa, it is Pashyaka, one who sees everything, one who is all-knower, one who sees everything, one who knows everything. Sees means knows everything. He is Sarvadnya, Kashyapa. So Pashyaka becomes Kashyapa, Pashyaka, Kashyapa. That last syllable comes in the first. This is how it becomes, right? So this is Varna Viparyaya. Then we have, here I wanted to draw your attention to this. There is one picture here. That picture has a tree and a branch of a tree lying horizontal to the ground, parallel to the ground, right? We have a very interesting etymology. What do we call to the branch in Sanskrit? Shakha. Shakha kasmat. Why Shakha? Khe shayaha. They are sleeping in the mid-region, aram se. See, the horizontal branch here lying horizontal, sleeping as if. Khe shayaha, shakhaha. And why Vriksha is called Vriksha? Vritva ksham tishtati iti vrikshaha, vrashchanatva. It is cut, vrashchana, therefore it is called Vriksha. Or Vruksha, you make two syllabic portions. Vru is from root Vru, Vritva, covering, Ksha, Ksha, Kshma, Prithvi, that which covers the earth and stays like something like a banyan tree, a huge shade-giving tree. Vritva ksham tishtati iti vrikshaha tasya shakha shakha kasmat kheshayaha iti shakhaha. Interesting, gala? Very interesting. Now, the other three principles, Varnanasha. Varnanasha, these are the typical Vedic examples I have stated. Like Tattva Yachami, it becomes Tattva Yami. That cha is deleted. Now, Lopa, Tasya Lopaha is very common in Vyakarana. Tasya Lopaha. If you don't want anything, Tasya Lopaha. Delete Kuryat. So, Tattva Yachami, it is called haplology. I mean, these are all linguistic terms. I always say, see, when we say Vyakarana is grammar, how can you have Nirukta termed as? It is grammar plus something else, it is linguistics. It analyzes the word. It's a step ahead of Vyakarana. And that's why we say Vyakaranasya Karsnyam, etc. It's linguistics. So, anaptixis, metathesis, haplology, deletion are the terms used in the language studies, right? So, Tattva Yachami. The very famous example is like Madhutrichaha. Madhutrichaha, Madhvi Santu, Gavaha, Madhuksharanti Sindhavaha, etc. There are three ruchas which are called Madhutrich. Now, trich, this word is derived from what? Tisraha Richaha. Tisraha, three. Richa is feminine, therefore Tisraha. If it is neuter, it will become Trini, right? If it is masculine, it will become Trayaha, according to the Linga Bheda. So, Tisraha Ruchaha, in that, Ta, what is Ti? Ta plus E. Sra becomes Sa plus Ra, and then Ruchaha. So, here, E, Sa and Ra are deleted, Varnanasha. And Ta and Ruchaha combined together, it becomes Trichaha. Tisraha is Ta plus E, that becomes Ti. So, Ta is halanta there, Ruchaha gets combined to that, and it becomes Trichaha. So that is Varnanashat. So here more than one Varna is deleted, not only 1, 2, 3 Varnas get deleted. Then Varna Vikara, there is some Vikara, some modification, alteration. It's not Nasha, it is altered. Change in the phoneme or a syllable. For example, Dyuta becomes Jyoti, Dyuta, to shine. Jyotihi. Now Jyotihi is that which is luminous. So the luminary bodies in the sky are called Jyotihi, right? And Jyotisham Patihi we call the moon. So Jyotihi, the nakshatras, the stars, etc. It has been derived from Dyuta, not Juta. The Dakara changes to Jakara. It is Varna Vikara. It is not Nasha. So in many such languages, now we have, like in German, that yacht, in German we call it yacht. It is spelled as Z, but it is pronounced as Y. Jana Novotna, it is Yana Novotna. And that is the reason why Yashoda becomes Jasoda. Y and J, interchangeable. It is Varna Vikara. Jasumati Maya, that is Yashoda Maya. Y becoming J, that is Varna Vikara. Other examples like Srija, Rajjuhu Kasmat, Rajju, the famous Rajju Sarpa Drishtanta in Vedanta. Rajju is a rope. Rajju, that which is released, basically it is the rope which is released in the well to fetch water. Srija, Sarjanat Rajjuhu. So Srija becomes Rajju. Sru, that becomes Rajju. Then Vaha becomes Oghaha. Miha becomes Meghaha. Gaha becomes Gadha, Agadha, Hakara changes to Dakara. We have seen Vaha, from Vaha we had Vadhu, so Hakara changes to Vadhu. So that is Varna Vikara. And the fifth principle is Dhatoho Arthatishaya. Dhatu's Artha, but then Atishaya, you extend it far and wide. That is far-fetching derivations. You have the meaning of the word, and Artha Nityaha Pariksheta, you know the principle, but Arthasya Atishaya, you extend it too much. If you extend, if you stretch the rubber too much, it will be broken. So sometimes that is the precaution to be taken here. Arthatishaya, to what extent? No? So like Samahantu becomes Nighantu, right? So Dhatoho Arthatishaya, the same example I have given. Samahantu becomes Nighantu. Some change to Na, and there is A which is borrowed, and Hana, Ha becomes Gha, Na becomes Na, Ta becomes Ta, so many changes, right? And this is all because the meaning tallies, the words are picked and chosen from the Vedic corpus and collected together in a glossary, the meaning tallies, and therefore Yavat Paryantam Artha Nityatvam Vartate. Go ahead. So that is the fifth principle. Now derivations based on such principles, Akshara Varna Samanyat, Indra, the most famous deity of the Rigveda. How many etymologies Sayana would give? In the Sajaniya Sukta, the Sajana Sukta, it is called 212, second mandala, Gartsamadamidam Suktam. So Akshara Varna Samanyat Nirbruyat, he has literally exploited Nirukta's every principle in deriving Indra from various roots. Very interesting. And all these functionally, they tally with Indra's characteristics, Indra's deeds, Indra's adventures, Indra's activities. Okay? Indraha, Ikara, Nakara, Dakara, Rakara. So this is how we split it. From these four names and so many derivations emerge. Iram Drinati iti Indraha. Ira is Anna. Ira also means Prithvi, one who breaks her. The Parjanya will break apart the earth. But Iram Drinati, the seed will be broken and it will be sprouting. Iram, that the seed which culminates into Anna. So Iram Drinati iti Iradaraha, Annan Darayati iti, breaks the seed, sprouts and gives us food. Iram Dadati, not Darayati, Dadati, gives. So the dakara in Indra could be derived from dru, from da, okay? Iram dha, dadhati. Dharayate, Iram dharayate or dharayate, both. One who holds, okay? Then another famous thing is Indave Dravati, Indra, Indu, that word. Indu is a drop. Indu is not moon here. Indu means moon in the post-Vedic or the Atharva-Vedic literature, not in the Rig Veda. So Indu is basically the bindu of Soma. It's a drop of Soma. Indave Dravati, one who rushes wherever there is Soma being found, because Indra is the connoisseur of Somapana. And therefore, wherever there is Soma, pounding is going on. Even if he listens to that sound, he will go hurriedly. In the 8th mandala, I think 883 or something, Apala Sukta is there, Indra Apala Sukta. And that Apala, that she is a spinster, you can say, an old but not married girl, okay, old girl, I mean by age she is old, and she is chewing some Soma things, Somavalli, and that chewing between two jaws, that is like the Soma being pounded on the mortar and the pestle, and Indra comes there. So that is Indra Apala. Of course, the Sukta has many other deeper meanings, but that is how, So in the way, Dravati iti. Indau Ramate, that Rakara is from Rama. Indau Ramate, one who enjoys. Indu. And Indhe, Bhutani Deeptidata. Indhe, he ignites Bhutani, all the beings, because he provides food to them and he brings smile and glory on their faces. So, Indhe Bhutani Deeptidata, and therefore he is Indra. So many interesting derivations of one word. Parajanyah Kasmat. Now this, when we talk about linguistics, one branch of linguistics, like when you talk about like phonology and morphology and this syntax, semantics, different areas of language study, there comes one as pragmatics, pragmatism. So what is that pragmatism? When I say Nirukta is the first ever written text on linguistics, we have to bring in all that, not just using the linguistic terms here, which we are using now from Ferdinand Saussure and others, which we have learnt, but even before that, in some other form, in Sanskrit we had the same principles. The principles are universal. The names may vary, the names may change, right, in two languages. So, Parajanya Kasmat, Truptehe, from Trup. In Parajanya, what is the root? Jana could be the root. Parajanya, Jana is the root. One may think Jana is the root. Yes, Jana is the root. But Truptehe Parajanyaha. Kasmat, Trupa becomes Parta. It is Varna Viparyaya. We have seen the principles now. This is application. And Janya is Parajanya. So, Trupa plus Janya becomes Parajanya. That is one derivation. Sarva Janapada Tarpayita. Paraha Prakrishtaha Jeta. That Jakara is Jijaya. He is the universal conqueror or winner. He never loses because everybody is waiting for him to come. Parjanya. Okay? So he is Prakrishtaha, Paramaha Jeta, or Janayitava. Or he is the producer because he produces food for all the beings. And therefore, Janayitava, Rasanam Prarjayitava, or one who gives or produces rasa. Rasa, all the liquids, the moisture. Even if the streams are not flowing on the ground, the moisture would be there in the soil, in the earth. That is the rasa. So when you sow some seed there, it will sprout because that is rasa. So Rasanam Prarjayita, the acquirer of the rasa, the moisture, the liquid. And every derivation could be put to test to meaningfulness, artha nityatva here. This is why Nirukta is termed as a text on linguistics. Like for example, Hiranyam Kasmat, Riyate Janajjanam, Ayamyamanam. Pragmatics, is something which varies from region to region also. I'll give you one example, like Shavatir Gatikarma Kambojeshveva and Aryeshu Shavaiti, or Datramudicheshu Datihi Lavanarthe, something like that. But now, after knowing all these principles, I told one is tempted to derive the words from various sort of roots, but there has to be a precaution. It's not like that George Washington got an axe and he felled all the trees in his garden. One tool you get, you apply it in everywhere. Not like that. Naika padani nirbruyat. Out of context, you should never etymologize or derive the word. You have to see the context and then you can come to the right derivation. Otherwise, you will be misinterpreting the word. Okay? For example, especially in the case of homonyms, because one word has multiple meanings, right? So which meaning we can take here? For example, the word Harihi means monkey also. Hari means Vishnu also, right? Hari means lion also. So how can you interpret what is the translated version of Hari? You need a context for that. Cultural context, the full sentence. Out of the sentence, if somebody just picks up the word Hari and asks you to translate, you will give some different meanings. But what is the meaning there? For that you need a context. So text is to be read and interpreted in context, the most important principle of Nirukta. Text can never be interpreted without context. So contextual references are very important. Andhaha, for example, I have picked the example from Nirukta. Then I'll give you some common example. So this is anekarthatvat anavagatam. Andha, andhas. Now, because it has multiple meanings, anavagatam, we are not quite certain of the meaning. But then the meaning could be determined based on the context. How, for example, in a Rigvedic Rucha, this is 2.14.1, a patrebhi, amatrebhi patrebhi sinchata madhyamandhaha. Madhya is not Sura, Madhya is Madaka. Madajanaka. Madhya andhaha sinchata. So sprinkle the intoxicating what? Andhaha? Darkness. How can you sprinkle intoxicating darkness? Andhaha here means anna. And why? Adhyayam, adhyaniyam bhavati iti andhaha nama annam. Everybody, every living being is concentrating on, I want something to fill myself. Right from an ant to the human being, the gigantic elephant, everybody is after food. Adhyaniyam bhavati. Not for a single moment their attention gets defocused. They are all focused on earning money also. We earn for what? To have food. So, adhyaniyam bhavati iti andhaha nama annam. And amatrebhi patrebhi nama aparimitaihi. This is Sandavashya. Aparimitaihi patrebhi madaniyam andhaha nama somam sinchata. That is sinchata. Sinchata is a chandasa dairghya. It also means darkness. Andha, because andham tamaha, then tamasi, tamasa, guldhamagre, there also andhatamisra. In Naraka, for example, andhatamisra, the word is used. Andhan tamaha pravishati. So andha also means tama, and that is also adhyaniyam bhavati. It is in two ways. Adhyaniyam bhavati. One looks for tama because he can concentrate on something. When it is dark, bright sunlight everywhere or bright tube light, you can't really meditate. For dhyana, you require some sort of like seclusion and a quietude which the lights don't bring you normally. And therefore you want to meditate. All the meditative dhyana grihas, how are they? Normally, like little bit darkish, not very well lit, right? Well lit. So andham tamaha, the popular, this is the Nirukta example. The popular example is Saindhava Manaya. Okay. Now Saindhava, here the word Saindhava has two meanings. Saindhava is Lavana, the salt. Okay. Saindhava is Lavana, the salt, because Sindhu, And the other meaning of Saindhava is horse. Because he came out of the Kshirasagara Manthana. Lakshmi Kaustava Parijataka Sura Dhanvantarish Chandrama Gava Kamadugha Sureshwara Gajo, etc. etc. Uchchai Shravaha. So the horse came out from the water. And another, there is Vadavanala, that is in the form of horse, rather a mare, she horse. The Vadavanala is in the form of mare. So there are so many myths. The Auruva story is there, Puranic story. Anyhow, so that's another part. So this is horse also and Lavana also. So if out of context somebody tells you Saindava Manaya, translate. How will you translate? Bring salt or bring a horse? So you need to look at the context. If a person is sitting to have his food, andhan, madhyam andha, is being served to him, then he will naturally ask for salt and not a horse at the door. But if all ready to go out, then what he is going to do with a little pinch of salt? That time he needs a horse to ride. So context is necessary basically. So contextual study, that is this thing. Another, Naikapadani Nirbruyat, contextual derivation, Jaha. That is an example given in the Naigama Kanda in Nirukta. Oha tyage jaha ha tyage jahati iti, or himsa hana himsa gatyoho. The jaha form could be derived from hana or from ha. So what is the right meaning? You need a context. Jaha, the word is used in which context? So that you need to know. Now after all this, the Nirukta Shastra, this is also good and all that. Anybody comes to you or anybody doesn't come, you catch hold of somebody and, oh, come on, sit here, I am going to teach you Nirukta. No. Na avaiyakarana. Because this is a furthering of Vyakarana. Unless you know Vyakarana, how can you realize that this is one step ahead? So what is the previous step you should know, right? This is, super specialization. This is super specialization. Na avaiyakaranaaya, na anupasannaya. You don't catch hold of any person walking on the street and come, bring here, I am going to tell you some principles of Nirukta. Na anupas. He has to approach you. Like Samit Panihi Gurumeva Abhigachet. Right? Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. So one has to come to you, then only you can teach him Nirukta. Anidam Videva, or one who doesn't understand idam, this Shastra has really so greatness, it is so important, it is so necessary to learn, to know the meaning of the Vedas. You should believe in that. You go to a doctor, you don't have faith in him, howsoever very expensive medicines he gives, you are not going to get cured. On the other hand, if you have trust, even a placebo can work. Right? That's what my sister is a doctor, she has been telling me. So, anidam videva. So, those who don't believe in Nirukta, don't teach them Nirukta. They are not worthy of learning Nirukta. So, generally, why? Because, generally it's seen that if the students don't grasp the meaning, they put the blame on the teacher. We are teachers here, 3 teachers are here, 3 students are here. So, if I don't understand, oh, I tried, to grasp, but my teacher didn't teach me properly. That happens normally. And therefore, in Yaska's times also, it was the same. Times have changed. But we are all same, human beings are the same. Yo hi na vijanati sa atmiyam dosham acharya eva avasrajati. All his own fault, his shortcomings, he will impose upon the acharya. You didn't teach me properly. And therefore, na anupasannaya na idam videva, and especially asuyakaya, one who hates, envies, there is a jealousy. Don't talk about Nirukta. Jealousy, envy for the subject, for the teacher, both. And unrijave, one who is not very straightforward. He doesn't come with rujubhava. He doesn't come with humility. Vidya vinayena shobhate. If he doesn't come with humility, akkad ke aata hai, he is not worthy of it. Leave him. Kuch thoda sa, send him away. Okay? So, na ma bruyaha. And then the importance helps understand the dialectical differences. Here I have mentioned this. Shavatir gati karma Kambojeshveva. In Cambodia, that Cambodia Pradesha, Shava is a dhatu. Shava is a gatyarthaka dhatu, Shava gatau. But only in the Cambodias, they use it in the sense of gati. Elsewhere in Aryeshu, vikaramasya. आर्येषु नाम कुरुषु, Kurukshetrādishu pradesheshu, Shava is a dead body. So the same thing, the principle, the root is there. But it becomes many times Shastrat Rudhir Baliyasi. So how you use it, a particular word in a particular language, in a particular territory, so there is territorial, that is where the pragmatism comes. Right? So that is where it comes. So another example, Datihi Lavanarthe Pracheshu. Do Avakhandane, so it comes in the Pracheshu and Datram Udicheshu. Udicheshu nama Haradvaradishu, Pracheshu nama Kashyadi Janapadeshu. So the root is used in some parts, but the instrument, Datram, that's a sickle to cut the grass and all, Datram, Koita, that is used in Udicheshu. So this helps understand the correct meaning of the word. Idamantarena mantreshu artha pratyayo na vidyate. Without this, there can't be any artha pratyaya. Tadidam vidyasthanam. I have been repeating it every time. Tadidam vidyasthanam. It is vidyasthanam. It's a knowledge area, branch of knowledge. Vyakaranasya karsnyam. It's a totality of Vyakarana. And Swartha Sadhakam cha, and it fulfills its own purpose. As a Shastra, every Shastra must have its own purpose. Why this Shastra is made? It has its own purpose, to derive, to etymologize. So Swartha Sadhaka also is there, plus Vyakaranasya Kartsnyam. And then there is this example, this is my favorite in fact, Ko Nama Vritraha, Meghaiti Nairuktaha, Tvashtraha Asuraha iti Aitihasikaha. This clearly gives you the pedagogical or the devices of multiple interpretations during Vedic times. So Meghaiti Nairuktaha, Vritra, we know Indra killed Vritra. So it becomes a Devasura Yuddha. Indra is a Deva, Vritra is Asura. He killed Vritra with his Vajra. All that story we know. But that is Aitihasikaha. Tvashtraha Asuraha. Iti Aitihasikaha. The historians may say so, but the etymologist would interpret Vritra as a cloud because it covers the mass of water in its belly. It doesn't allow it to trickle down. And then Indra with the lightning smashes the cloud's belly is torn apart. So this is all like a metaphorical expression of the phenomena which happens everywhere. It's a simple rain phenomena. And that has been given in a Tatra Upamarthe Varnanani. So this is all Upamarthe Varnanani. So that's the Aitihasikaha. Idamantarena Padavibhagaha na vidyate. How to do the Padapatha. This is again a very famous and a very specific area of the Rigveda. I was telling Srinath today, Agni Mile Purohitam. Now, Purohitam is a samasa. So, Purohitam, how do you write in Padapatha? Puraha, Avagraha, Hitam, and then Iti. So, after a samasa, there is a Iti Karana. After Avagraha, there is Iti Karana. So, Agni Mile Purohitam, Purahitam Iti. Puraha, Hitam Iti. So, this, this is the Padapatha. Now, there is an example. Avasaya Padvate Rudram Rudra. Rudra is being invoked. Mrida, have compassion, have mercy on Padvate, on the Chatushpad, cattle. Okay? Cattle, cows. Why? For what? Avasaya. Now, Avasaya, while doing the Padapatha, do you split it with an Avagraha? Because Ava is a prefix. Prefixes are normally, not normally, every time, they are separated from the noun by an Avagraha. To show that it's a separate Pada. Padapatha is, every Pada is separate. Every Pada is separate. So if there is a Pratyaya is also like Marudbhyaha. Marut, Avagraha, Bhyaha. So like that. Of course there are certain rules for that. So Avasaya, do you do Avagraha or no? It is not Avagraha because it is like Devaya, Sureshaya. It is Chaturthi, dative singular of Avasa. The word Avasa is Patheya, Pathyadanam. The thing which you have, like Bhook Ladu in Marathi, which you have a tiffin with you while you are traveling, that is called Avasa. And Padvate Rudram Ruda, oh Rudra, you have compassion because this cow gives me the Pathyadana. She will give me the milk which I need. So here you don't do avagraha. Now this you understand when in the context you understand the meaning of the mantra. Whereas the same word avasaya, avasaya ashwan, after releasing the horses. So Ashwa is a horse, Ava and Saya, show is the root, and Saya is the Lyabanta Pratyaya of that because Ava is the prefix. So Avasaya becomes Lyabanta, and there you put an Avagraha. So where to put Avagraha? Where not? For that you must know the meaning of the Veda. To know the meaning of the Veda, you must know Nirukta. So this is mantreshu idamantarena mantreshu artha pratyayo na vidyate athapi idamantarena mantreshu padavibhagaha api na vidyate. And secondly, jnana prashamsa bhavati. Oh, you know Nirukta also, such a difficult shastra. You know that? Oh, great you are. Jnana prashamsa. On the other hand, doesn't know Ajnana Ninda, doesn't know Nirukta. He has been studying Veda and doesn't know anything of Nirukta. So Jnana prashamsa on one hand, Ajnana Ninda on the other hand. And now I close with this shloka. You know, after knowing everything, why do you understand, why do you want to understand the meaning of the Vedic mantras? If you don't understand the meaning and just recite it without knowing the meaning, it is Shukavad Ratanam. Parrots, right? So, Sthanurayam Bharaha, you only Bharavahi, you just carry the burden of the words without knowing the meaning of it. Sthanurayam Bharaha kila bhut adhitya vedam na vijanati artham. On the other hand, yaha arthadnyaha saha it, he alone, it avadharanarthe, not the vyakarana ito lopaha. So, sa it sakalam bhadramashnute, he enjoys all that is good for him, all the noble things. And nakameti, we saw the etymology of naka. Nakameti jnana vidhuta papma. All his sins, all his blemishes are washed out by his jnana, and such a person goes to heaven. So this is the Nirukta. What is the Dri? Dri in this case, Adri, Drudranati. Drudranati, that is to break apart. That is the meaning. I must have some roots to how to find that. Thank you. You go to Dhatu Patha, right? Nagendraji, go to Dhatu Patha. Then please suggest some introductory books for further reading. In English, the book is by Lakshman Sarup. It is published by Motilal Banarsidas. In Hindi, I have one book which is by Chaukhamba. I bought it in 72, and that is still, I'm using the same book. It is by Chajju Shastri. There are multiple books. In Marathi, the first two sarga, the first two adhyayas of Nirukta are there by Ravindra Mule from Pune. So there are multiple books. I mean, you can just find Nirukta. Many Hindi books are there. Yeah. Thank you all. And I think we should close now because it's already time up. Let me complete by Shanti Mantra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha.